to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. Welcome to 2020, Tate Mathews.
2020, Happy New Year.
A perfect vision.
Perfect vision. Pretty excited. For those that were wondering,
No, you didn't.
the captain will be back in 2020. The contract extension was signed, renewed, extended. Excited about 2020. It's going to be good.
For our older audience out there, they might remember Captain Stubing.
I mean,
from the Love Boat, right?
Love Boat. Watched the Golden Globes this weekend. Tom Hanks was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award. Did you know that he was in The Love Boat? That was one of his first roles.
Oh. That and Fantasy Islands. Where
That would qualify
as
the first gem of 2020.
No doubt. Well, Tate, it's exciting. Basketball is really getting in full swing. Obviously, wrestling also. I'm really looking forward to these next couple months because it really gets exciting on the hardwood and on the mats. For
sure. It's the district season, right? The former host of this show, Dr. Jeremy Qualls, he used to say there's 3 seasons. There's before Christmas, there's the district season, and then there's tournament season. You agree with that?
That's pretty good.
That's right. So
he didn't ever get very far in that third one, though.
Oh, that was before I knew him. That was before he was a doctor.
I don't even know if that's true.
You said that.
I don't even know if that's true. I just like saying it.
Oh, gosh. Now he's going to come down and he's going to tell this time about when they beat Giles County and he had 5 managers out there and they held the ball. And you have no idea what you've done. But it's the district season, 11 AAA. I'm very excited about that. Nolensville and Fairview are playing well. And then wrestling is kind of the district season as well. So,
speaking of which, Tate, because you are our resident wrestling expert, the 52-team Johnny Drennan Memorial, which is a big-time tournament, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Father Ryan Invitational. It's the tournament outside of the state tournament, really, and so. It's always been that way, and it still kind of is. It's kind of the measuring stick of where you are, you know. And the cool thing I love about it, there is no public, there is no private, there is no, you know what I'm saying, small school, large school. Mm-hmm. It's everybody in there together. They bring in teams from Kentucky, actually a team out of Kentucky, Union County won it. And there was a team from Wisconsin there, Illinois. So all that being said, you do well at we always called it the Ryan. Now it's been renamed the Johnny Drennan Memorial. But you do well at the Johnny Drennan Memorial Invitational. Probably a pretty good chance that you're going to do well at the state tournament. Cleveland was there. Bradley Central was there. All of our guys were there. And it's a tough tournament. So you do well there, you know you got a pretty good chance to be successful at the end of the year.
Brentwood finished 9th. Johnny Mack Feldhacker, runner-up at 195. Skylar Coffey, the champion in the heavyweight division, and 5 pins. You said every match has been a pin, right?
He's pinned everybody. I think if he won 5 matches, so I think that got him up to 30. He's 30-1. Side note, he got disqualified in Alabama for a slam, which wasn't a slam. So don't be going, good Lord, who beat him? So I'm not counting it. I'm going 30-0. He's pinned everybody's wrestled.
Including in the loss. When you pin the guy when you lose, that's pretty good.
Well, when I said illegal slam, I mean, what did he do? Did he tombstone him? You know, DDT him? But here's the coolest thing about him, okay? All of them are pins. So he's 29-30-0. Everybody he's wrestled, he's pinned. He's wrestling heavyweight this year. He got up from 220 last year. He's wrestling at about 245. So all these guys that he's pinning are 275, 285. He's given up 40 pounds to the top heavyweights in the state, and it's still not a contest. Hey, and then also Cooper Finch. He placed 4th at 145 pounds. So they had 3 guys in the top 5, and at that you mentioned Johnny Mack, and I think Johnny Mack's got 2 losses on the season now. 2 losses, I think. And you got 3 guys to place in the top 4. Pretty strong. They were the only team in Wilco to finish in the top 10. That's how tough of a tournament it was.
They finished 9th, Fairview 16th, Summit 19th, Franklin 26th. And really, You know, I look at Fairview, their performance stands out too, being a smaller school. 16th, Riley Bennett finishes 4th at 145. Jackson Clevenger, 8th at 195. Summit, Ryan Smith, 6th at 285. Franklin, Owen Goebel, 5th at 106. Wrestling keeps getting better and better and better in this school system.
Well, without a doubt. Nolensville, I don't think, was there. So, you know, they would have had some guys make some noise. And talked about Coach Smith and Damon Smith at Brentwood, we were talking about it. You know, what they've done at Fairview in wrestling is amazing. Coach Derrick and his crew, obviously having the Clevenger boys has helped. Guys like Riley Bennett. But you know, I bet 5 years ago, 14, you got to fill out 14 to not have a forfeit in a match, right? They couldn't do that. They couldn't even fill out. They couldn't find 14 bodies, you know.
Yeah.
And now here they are. Come state tournament time, they're a small school, and they're placing 16th at the Ryan. Again, Cleveland was there. Bradley was there. Blackman was there. Clarksville was there.
Beach was there.
Beach.
Another good program.
The teams out of Kentucky, Christian County, I think got third. Unicoi was first. I mean, what they can do now, what they've done with that program now, they can go in with anybody and go toe to toe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and if you've been around Coach Derrick, he's a lot of, and he's got a little bit of swagger to him.
You got some swagger.
And his guys do too. And I really enjoyed talking to those guys. That media day was really fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and
the
you know,
guys.
At least in Middle Tennessee, you know, the mecca, of wrestling in Middle Tennessee's Father Ryan, right? Which he's got Father Ryan. He's a Derrick, so he's got that in his blood. But no, he's done a great job, man. And as is everybody, you know. There used to be gaps. Everybody's got a strong wrestling team now in Wilco.
Let's talk some hoops, Tate.
Can't wait.
So let's start off. We're going to talk AAA. We'll start off with the girls. 11 AAA girls standings. Brentwood 4-0 after that big win over Page last week, 55-67. The surprise team of the year so far, Coach Glazner and Independence, sitting at 3-0. Dixon and Page both 3-1. Ravenwood 3-2.
Which I think they'll take that right now.
I think that's their second biggest surprise.
Yeah.
Summit at 1-2. We'll talk about how they're going to be getting better later with Ellie Colson coming back. And then Spring Hill, Franklin, and Centennial still looking for win number 1. So let's start off. Brentwood 67, Page 55. Brentwood with a 12-point win. That game is 32-31 at the half. Brentwood goes on a 27-10 run to take control of that game. Page made a little bit of a comeback towards the end. But I'm going to tell you, Tate, when I watched that game, obviously you got the Truschel twins. You've got Amelia Osgood, who just, what does she do? A couple days later, throws in 40 points.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At the She Got Game tournament in Georgia. But I noticed, and I talked to Coach Thrash about this, the thing that really stood out to me, and what I think the difference that particular night, the extra pass being made by Brentwood, and I think that had a lot to do with them making 12 threes that night.
Yeah, well, and so that was a game kind of, who's tops right now? Is it Brentwood? Is it Page? Well, after the first round, it's definitely Brentwood. I think that opened a lot of eyes, you know. Maybe they're separating themselves a little bit because we all know what Page can do. Got a lot of guys, a lot of young ladies that can score points. So, but yeah, Osgood, you know, she kind of started emerging as the Truschel twins. It was kind of their team last year. She kind of got up there with them, you know, as the season went, you know, and now anytime those three are on the court, you got a really good chance. She's you know, you've been doing it forever, but if you have three young ladies, and we're going to see that when we talk about independence, that can score the basketball in high school basketball, you got a chance to be pretty good, don't you?
You definitely do, and really Page the same thing.
Yep.
Who, by the way, they were winners along with the boys team of the Above the Rim tournament at Hickman County during Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Hickman County, yes.
Did B. Wirt start that, or you know?
I'm going to guess he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
But the quality of teams they've brought in over the years, and no disrespect to this year's, but sometimes it's been even bigger and better than this year's teams for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess he had something to do with
It's
it
a
because
good
of
tournament.
that.
Yeah, good tournament.
Delaney, 18 points. Lily Wilkins, 17. Mackenzie Cochran, 16. So they're that same kind of team. And I think that goes for boys and girls. If you consistently have 3 people scoring in double figures, you probably have a good team.
You would think so. You really got to be bad on defense if you don't, and you'll see it. It's the teams that are on this top half of the bracket. They have it, and that's what I've noticed at least. It can't be a coincidence, and all those they got 3.
Independence 66 at Franklin 43. Independence, and this is like our basketball version of Samson Johnson.
Jalen Banks, only a freshman, 28 points on that particular night for Independence. Lindsey Freeman 15. Now, get this, Independence 9-3 on the season. You have to go back to the 2012-13 season to find a double-digit winning season for Independence. For sure.
I'm going to go out on a limb, Tate.
You going 20?
No, they're going to make at least 10.
Oh. I thought you were going 20.
No, I was gonna
they might.
I mean, not one more game and they've got 10.
Yeah, I
mean, obviously they're gonna get double digits. Going to probably end up with a winning record. Coach Glazner doing a great job out there, and they just keep rolling.
Yeah, for sure. And the biggest thing is they're 3-0 in the district. And you're right, man. There were times when you'd sometimes have to go 3 years to get 10 wins. And so Jalen Banks, she's amazing. She's a freshman. I still struggle with that, but 28 points against Franklin. She's averaging 17.2 for the year. For those of you who haven't seen her play, that's not all she does. She's averaging 5.4 rebounds, 2.2 steals, and 2.9 assists. Here's what I want to know. It was probably like watching, the Wade boys 2 years ago. What was it like when she was playing last year as an 8th grader? That had to have been boat race.
Yes, she may have one of those.
Yeah, she probably does. So, but man, that's what's so awesome about her. And Coach Glazner, man, when you hear him talk about her, she talks about she's already a leader and she's just a freshman. So, yeah, she is the Samson Johnson of 11 AAA women's basketball. Hey, and you mentioned Lindsey Freeman and her 15. She the week before broke 1,000. For the Lady Eagles. So she's in the 1,000-point club and obviously keeps adding to that. And then you got Kayla Miller. So there you go, threes. You got 3. She's averaging 9.8 points and 9.4 rebounds. There you go.
Makes a difference.
That's almost 3 in double figures. It's kind of hard to mess that up.
It really is. It really is. Franklin, Kate O'Neill led the team with a double-double, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Coach Johnson, the Lady Rebels, only 36% from the field, which I think you can overcome that, but the 21 turnovers, probably a bit too much. Summit.
Can't win that way.
Summit, 58. Ravenwood, 46. 58-46, that game played at Ravenwood. Here's something that stood out to me. Ravenwood, not Summit. I see you looking at your notes. Ravenwood. They made 16 field goals, 10 of which were threes. Coach James, I like that.
I do too.
I like that three-point
Who
shooting.
led the way?
In terms of hitting threes?
Yeah.
That'd be Lexi Erickson and Rachel Hillman.
There you go.
They both hit 3 apiece. Big win for Ravenwood. I think about that matchup. Rookie.
You said Summit 58, Ravenwood 46. It was flip-flop. But that's okay.
Oh, I did?
They knew what you meant, yeah.
Ravenwood. See, I'm not on my game.
There you go.
My New Year's resolution's messed up.
This was a big win for Ravenwood.
A very big win. I think about that matchup of coaches. You got the youngster, the rookie, Coach James, just getting started. Then you got Coach Wild, who's coached in more games than probably everybody in the district combined.
Yes.
3 state titles, 16 different schools, 600 wins. He's
one
actually
boys and 2 girls.
That's right. He's inching up on 600 wins.
That's big.
That's coming.
There's 2 things that go into that. Hey, but another thing, while we're on Coach Wild, what about him calling out the Titans and the Preds, man, on Twitter?
Was he talking the Preds about losing to the Penguins?
Well,
his favorite day of the year.
Somebody piped in about the Titans beating the Patriots.
And he said the Steelers.
And his brother said,
the steel curtain.
Geez, you win one playoff and then Wild jumps in, brings the flipping Preds into it, man.
He can't help himself. Ravenwood, Lexi Erickson, 18 points, Elizabeth Flynn, 15. Here's another stat that stood out to me, and really, one of my heroes in life, Mr. Cardwell, Frank Cardwell. He said, you know, the name of the game is basketball. That means put the ball in the basket. And when you can do that, you can win. Not only did they hit 10 threes, 16 of 20 from the free throw line. Pretty darn good.
Going to win that way.
Definitely going to do it. Summit, Taylor Penning led the team with 15. Megan Easterday, 11. They have lost 5 straight. They've played a tough schedule. But when Ellie Colson returns, look out. Summit will not finish at the bottom of this league, believe me.
Nope. You're not going to want them in the tournament, first round of the tournament.
Moving on, girls, Centennial 22 at Dixon 54. Cougars remain winless on the season, 0-9. Tough start for the Lady Cougars and Coach Simmons, hoping to get a win over Spring Hill this week. They need to get that one.
Got to get that one. I think they do.
I do too. I'm not going to go against the Williamson County School. Come on. All right, let's talk boys now. Brentwood, 4-0. Dixon County, 4-0. Centennial 3-1, Franklin 3-1, Indy and Summit both 1-2, Ravenwood 1-4, Spring Hill and Page still looking for win number 1. Now, I was thinking about this the other night, and this is no disrespect to the rest of the teams because you don't want to look up and be playing Page or Ravenwood in the first round.
Right.
But think of what I think most people would say are the top 5 in the league. Brentwood, Dixon, Centennial, Franklin, Summit. And by the way, Indy's another one of those teams you may not want to look up and see.
Yeah.
But those 5 teams, one of those teams for sure is not moving on to the region tournament.
It's
There's
crazy.
only a place for 4.
Yeah.
So, you know, you see Summit right now. If the season ended right now, they would be tied for 5th.
I don't think that's where they end up.
Don't think that's where they finish, but can you imagine you're the 4 seed dealing with them?
Have fun.
Yeah, good luck. All right, let's talk about these games. Brentwood, 45, Page 44. Andreas Casella hits a big 3 for Page to go up 41-40 with 2:30 left, but Page just couldn't hold on. You got to give Brentwood credit. In these games, they seem to just win, and unfortunately right now for Page, they seem to just lose. They're
Right.
9-0 outside of the league, 0-4 inside the league. So I know Page, which again won that tournament, they're still not satisfied. They've got to get over the hump in these district games.
Oh, I think for sure, and that's what I was going to say. I think, golly, Page sitting there at 0-4 in the district. Don't let that fool you, because all of those losses have been tight, you know, and could have gone the other way. So they're really good. They haven't been beat outside of the district. And then, you know, you mentioned Brentwood. That's what I was going to say. You know, you did it. So how much of that is these guys have just been in game after game after game like this, and in the postseason, and these kids not only know how to win, but I think they expect to win. I really think those kids think, just be in it at the end, and we'll pull it out. And year after year, it's a different cast of characters. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like they had one guy that bails them out for the past 3 years.
Well, if you went out there and looked and said, okay, let's look at everybody's starting lineup, you wouldn't necessarily pick Brentwood out as being 4-0.
I don't think so either.
You got to give them credit. You have to give those kids credit. And like you're saying, I think it's that belief. You know, it's funny, Coach King, you know what he used to call that?
Toughness?
Rich kid luck.
Rich kid.
He said, look, these kids, their families are successful. They expect to do well.
Well,
And they come through. They do.
and they remind me of some of his teams, you know. I mean, I remember like Jacob Adcock. When he came out, man, he didn't look like, you know, but next thing you know, you pop up, he's got 14 points, 12 rebounds, and your tail's beat. And Evan Drennan kind of had a night like that the other night with John Winley, and they're tough. They're sitting there at 4-0, and they already got a win over Franklin. So
and over Summit.
and over Summit.
At Summit. That's a win a lot of people aren't going to get.
That's right. They're playing well.
Got to give them credit. You know, Page did have a tough walking call there late in that game. And I'm going to tell you this, and I know the Page faithful will not like to hear this. He walked. But in their defense, a lot of times that's not called that late in the game. But if you look at what a walk is, it was a walk.
That's good enough for me.
There was an intentional foul called right after that. That might have been kind of a tough call too that you don't see a lot. But let me tell you, and I've always told my teams this, and I think these coaches do too. You have to make your own breaks. If you're dependent on a call to win or lose a game, not going to go well.
No, well, and I've been on it for a while. It is what it is. Those guys and gals in those striped shirts are humans, okay?
No doubt.
Whether it's right or wrong. In my opinion, I'd lay off them because sometimes, they dang sure aren't going to go your way if they're mad at you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and think about it's even more so if you're talking about a player. You think some grown man or woman wants to hear a 15 or 16-year-old
I wouldn't.
yelling at them? It's human nature. Whether you like it or not, it's human nature.
It's human nature. And a kid shouldn't be yelling at an adult, period.
Period. Evan Drennan led Brentwood with 15 points, really played well. John Winley, who I've been saying for a couple of years, I think he's been their best and most consistent player with 11 points. Griffin Burke, who's doing a good job running the point for them and really very vocal, a very vocal leader. When I watched that game the other night, that stood out to me how vocal he was. And you need that from a point guard. Page led by Thomas Seaman with 12 points, Mason Allen with 14.
Mason's played really well this season.
He has, and he'll continue to play well. Independence, 53, Franklin 77. One thing, if you take a look at Franklin that stands out, they score. Now, the loss, they had 40. But since that particular game, and I talked to Coach Tigert about this, he said, they talked about, hey, Brentwood had a lot to do with it. They played good defense, gave us one shot. But maybe our shot selection wasn't as good as it needs to be, and that has been a focus. It's been obvious. You look at that Christmas tournament, they win that prestigious MTIT tournament.
Big time.
Very prestigious tournament.
Former tournament director was a stud.
And they score.
They score.
They put the ball in the basket, which is big time. In the game the other night, it was 13-all early. Reed Kemp scores 11 of his 34 points in the second quarter. From there, Franklin just sort of kept pushing it out. Reed, 12 of 18 from the field for 34 points, 4 or 5 from three-point range. Matt Thurman, 6 of 9 from the field for 15 points. Independence led by Nathan Crook with 12 points. Indy started off the year 7-2. They've lost their last 5, but again, a team that has been playing well this year.
Oh, yeah, and they're going to be one of those. They want to be that fourth team, I would think. That's what their goal is for the end of the year, and I think it's something they can attain. They want to get to the tournament and make noise. But you talk about Franklin, man, Reed Kemp has been on a tear. We saw him play Lebanon in the finals of the MTIT. He had 27 that night.
27, 33 in the semi.
So I think he's 33, 27, and 34 in the last 3 games. And the thing that's amazing, and you said it, he's not missing. He went 12 for 18, 4 for 5 three-point range. And it's not like he's out there. He's being contested.
Yeah.
And he's fun to watch. It's been fun to watch. As big of a part as he was in handling the ball last year, that was Glover's team, right?
Sure.
He has really stepped up, and he and Matt Thurman. But right now, he's the guy, and he hadn't batted an eye. And man, he's making his own name. He's fun to watch.
By the way, today's gem. 1958, that MTIT tournament starts at Franklin.
Yeah.
It eventually moved to
Overton.
Lebanon. And they played in the
Whoa.
finals.
I didn't know that.
Barry Sutton, who was the principal at Franklin, started that tournament. He eventually went to Lebanon, and they continued that tournament into the 80s.
Very strong.
So, anyway.
Your boy Matt Thurman's playing really well. He's a double-double
well.
machine.
Double machine.
And possibly the best hair in WCS.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Summit, 62. Ravenwood, 49. Talking to Coach Whitlock, and I saw his comments in the paper, he felt like Summit was really playing with some urgency. They were a team that was 0-2 coming to that game, feeling they had to win. From the get-go, they're putting pressure on Ravenwood. Probably weren't quite expecting that from the get-go. Coach Whitlock said they had seen them do that later in games, but from the jump, they put the heat on. They were up 25-7 early. Ravenwood sort of chipped away, got it to single digits at some point. Too big to come over to overcome for Ravenwood, especially they're not really a team built to score 60 and 70 points.
Yeah. When the score gets over 60, Ravenwood's usually out of their comfort zone. They want it down and below that, and that's kind of their recipe. But I used to watch it for years back when, what were y'all, 9 AAA, 7 AAA?
9 AAA.
You know, Hillsboro, those football kids would play till the 4th round or the 5th round, and then they wouldn't get back, and then we'd have Christmas, and it'd look like they weren't going to be very good. And then you get back from Christmas break, and I'm just, in my humble opinion, this is a continuing trend. Summit's going to keep getting better and better. Those guys didn't get out there till,
Right.
what, December 10th earliest?
9 football players. And keeping this in mind, too, this will be the worst it is because Coach Fay gets hired fairly late in the summer.
Correct.
So he spends no time with them this summer.
Correct.
So some of those guys that played football, really it was their first time being around him, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
So, you know, the thing I would say, and I've always said, I wish every district game was played after Christmas. Because
But you have to now, right? The
Well,
way
you do, but you could do some Friday, Saturdays.
Gotcha.
Which I would be for.
We used to do that.
I would be for that because that's what you have to do in the tournament anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe do Friday, Saturday a couple times. With 9 teams, it's pretty tough to do unless you do that. Then you get into weather, and I get all that. Summit led by Trey Carlton with 22, Keaton Wade with 11, Ravenwood, Rex Gaynor, 12, Nick Dang, 12, Jake Mulder, 2. Really the stat of the night, outside the turnovers, only 2 threes for Ravenwood. Usually they hit a few more than that, in particular Gaynor.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I think that just goes to show how explosive Summit is. You know, if you didn't know anything else about the game, but the Gaynor went for 12, Dang 12, and Mulder 12, 10, you'd think well, Ravenwood probably was in that thing. You know, that's what's scary. That's how explosive Summit can be. And I'm sure now that they're getting their legs on, I bet they can apply some pressure on you.
Yes, I will concur. Centennial 50, Dixon County 51. That was the battle of the unbeatens going to that game. Centennial held a 3-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Dixon goes on a 27 run, which they can do. They get up by 10. Centennial gets it all the way back to 50 all. Late foul call on a sideline out of bounds. Again, a lot of times you don't see that called. Probably was a foul. Again, you don't always see it called, but again, you can't put yourself in that situation. Balanced scoring once again for Centennial, 11 points from Patrick Garrett, Isaiah Poore, Dusty Williams, Andrew Ellison. Coach Hickman doing a nice job with Centennial so far.
Doing a really good job, I think. And talk about a guy who got the job late.
But had experience with that team.
Had experience with that team, been around those kids. Safe to say, is Isaiah Poore the best? If we had a defensive player award,
it would be over right now.
It is? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I saw him guard the Pruitt kid from Mount Juliet who's really good, picked his pocket like 3 times. I'm very much looking forward to him, assuming he's going to guard him.
Reed.
Hickman and Kemp. That's going to be a nice matchup. That'll be this coming Friday night, by the way.
Yes.
Let's talk a little
Rivalry Friday, brother.
Yes, it is. And the second Rivalry Friday will be at Mathews.
Can't wait.
Yes. Double A update. Fairview girls 6-7, but 3-0 in the league. 2 of those losses, by the way, to Nowensville. If you look at their team and their stats, Kelsey Gossage and Kendall Spicer keep coming up. And there's only 2 seniors on that team. I know Coach McGowan, in talking to him at the beginning of the year, he's pretty excited about this team. That's another team. You have to go back to 2012 to find double-digit wins. This team is well on its way, sitting in first place right now in 11 AA.
You going out on a limb on that one?
They're getting 10, baby.
10, baby. And most importantly, 3-0. I bet you got to go back farther in 2011, 2012 to go be 3-0 in the region. So, hey, stay the course, keep getting better. And 2 of those losses to Nowensville, who very possibly could be in the glass house. So
I expect them to be.
Strong record.
On the boys' side, Coach McCoy and the Yellow Jackets, 8-5, 3-0 again overall. Again, 2 of those losses to Nowensville. They've played a pretty good schedule. Hey, by the way, here's another little. This is another gym. They play Red Boiling Springs at the Westmoreland tournament. Dalton Marsh of Red Boiling Springs, very good player. And by the way, they're a pretty good team, Red Boiling Springs. He has committed to
Fairview. I have no idea. Trevecca?
Missouri Western.
Missouri Western, where
Reese Glover
Glover
plays,
is,
right?
yes.
Got to give my man
the,
Reese a
the
shout out.
Griffins.
That's right.
Bring your juice.
Yeah, Qualls. He started so many things with copyright infringement. They're going to be calling one of these days. ESPN's going to be calling. Missouri Western. I'm just going to say, let me.
Game of Thrones.
Excuse me, I'll transfer this call. Hey, 3 names that keep
That's
coming
awesome.
up for Fairview: Bill Eads, Garrett Wooten, Locke Hurd. You see a lot of double-figure nights for those guys.
Yeah.
In particular, that Red Bowling Springs game, they go 14, 14, and 13. Nolensville, our last Williamson County school that we need to talk about. On the girls' side, like you said, I think the favorites to make it to, or make it at least really deep, they do not have a district game until January 14th. They're sitting at 10-3. I took a look at this. Nolensville's girls and boys, although they had a little bit different schedule, but it's about the same. 7 of their 10 games have been against AAA teams. That's smart scheduling.
Smart, man.
It is, and they got Brentwood coming up.
Yep. And they expect to win.
They do.
It's not like they're saying, hey, we're scheduling these guys and we just want to compete and try to get better and get ready for the tournament. They expect to win. And they're good, man. And then
Coach Ladd gets it, though.
he gets it.
He
He's
knows
been
he
there.
got his- he's
That's
been
right.
there.
He's seen it. He's done it both ways when he was at Page and then at Summit. But Zoe Pillar now, I mean, she can play anywhere. And I forget who it was against the other night, but she had like 28 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks. I mean, it's just,
Maybe in the Fairview game.
golly.
Yeah, she's a good player.
Yeah.
On a team of good players.
Yes.
On the boys' side, first-year head coach John Stegall and the Knights 4-8, but again a tough schedule. The thing that stood out to me when I looked at their schedule, and I understand that every game's different, but the first time they play Fairview, it's 55-52. The other night, it's 75-49. Fairview's a team that's improved, but I'll tell you this: I think that says something about the schedule that Nolensville has played. That maybe the second go-around, maybe it seemed a little bit easier. I mean, Fairview's played a good schedule too. They have, but I think that had something to do with it.
I think for sure. And then you got a new coach, and Coach Stegall, who knows how to win. Been to the state tournament, you know, with Northeast, and but you know it's a broken record. But he got the job late. But I think not only are they trying to? He's getting to know them. They're getting to know him, but also, how much do you think they're finding their own identity with Bladorn being gone?
Right.
You know, and against a very tough schedule. So, yeah, that wouldn't worry me at all. I think you're exactly right. That Fairview second game score kind of shows you they're starting to come into their own.
In that particular game, Nathan Fouch with 20, Max McAllister 18 points on 6 threes. We love
Threes,
the
three ball.
Hey, I'm good at math. 3's greater than 2.
By the way, I meant to tell you, that's right. Who was it? Was that
I think I said
the
that.
guy from the Suns? And now, what's his face? He's with the Rockets now.
No, that doesn't mean you just shoot them if you can't shoot them, right? I mean,
Well, yeah. See, I've never understood this. Why is this so hard? Time out, guys. Okay, here's the deal. We got Jordan Bruce, we got Reese Glover, and we got Reed Kemp. Now, if they're open, they can shoot it. If anybody else Thurman, but you know what I'm saying?
sound like you've been in a huddle.
If anybody else on this team shoots the ball, you're going to come out here and you're going to be sitting with me. Is that clear? Love you. Let you date my daughter. You're a good kid, son. But you do not shoot the ball. You get the rebound, you find Glover, and you get it to him.
Again, a wise man told me once, hey, son, you're open for a reason. The other team knows something you don't.
Let him shoot it.
Hey.
I don't know why that's so hard.
All right, look, we're short on time.
Okay.
We're out of our rhythm, Mr. Producer. We're sorry.
Hey, real quick, though, before
we're
we
about
let
94 minutes
Before you
here.
go, no. I meant to say this. You need to go. I think it was the Williamson Herald. There's a picture in there of Coach Thrash and the Page win. And, I mean, he's amped up. It's rivaling. He might be he's in a suit, and he might be overtaking the crown as fist pumper.
They don't even know what my last name is anymore. Coach Jones used to be out there coaching.
They know you on TV.
So
Jones.
one final thing, Tate. I've got the games listed here because we don't have time to go over all the games. Obviously, the WCTV game of the week stands out. Battle of the Woods. Brentwood heading to Ravenwood this Friday night. But look at Tuesday night's game. Pick a game there that has some interest for you and tell me why.
Well, I'd love to see Summit Franklin.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a really good one. And then Fairview versus Waverly, going right down the road. And,
District time.
And talk about the, it's going to be intense in there.
Mr. Trotter, they're coming for you.
Mr. Board of, what's he on? The Board of
Board of Control.
Control. Hey, whew, it's gonna be hot in Waverly on Tuesday night.
No, I love that game. Obviously, that Ravenwood-Brentwood game on Friday. You talked about Rivalry Friday.
Yeah.
Centennial Franklin, Summit Independence. Those are all great games. Obviously, Fairview, starting with district play, they're going to play, as we mentioned, Waverly on Tuesday. And then Friday, they will take on East Hickman.
Yep, got to get that one. I tell you the one that excites me, there's a bunch of them on Friday, but the Battle of Franklin, Centennial versus Franklin, I think, like you said,
It's a great game.
A lot of people, Centennial may be exceeding expectations, but I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's because they're really good. So I think Tuesday night and Friday night, Franklin's in two battles, both of them on the road.
4 straight road games.
4 straight road games.
Wow.
Did you schedule that?
Right before I left.
Remember when
The other one's Cane Ridge, by the way. I mean, that's tough. Hey, you can't go deep unless you're challenged, right?
Jeez.
Tate, always great to see you. Happy New Year.
I can't wait, man. We'll have some good stuff to talk about next week. Happy New Year to you.
We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.